Hello everyone, welcome to Ops on Cloud. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful features of GitHub Actions, that is action. Okay, so if you want to automate repetitive tasks in your workflows without rewriting the same shell scripts or any lines of code again and again, then action is the answer. All right. So first, let's try to clarify what is like GitHub Actions and action, the entire CI/CD platform that runs your workflow. So basically, that acts like that is what GitHub Actions means. And the individual reusable tasks that we create, right? For example, the one which I have created here, this acts like an action. Under this, if you see, there is an attribute called as users. There I have used an action. So that we specify it as an action in GitHub Actions. Today, we are focusing mainly on the second part. Think of action as a small block of code or something, or a Lego block. So basically, we have pre-built steps that will handle all common tasks. Like for example, in this case, we are setting up of Node.js, and if you want to deploy it to AWS or even send Slack notification. So for that, I have actually created action to show you. So if you see here, this is a real world example. Instead of writing 15 lines of shell commands to install Node.js every time, so all I have done is I have used an action called as setup Node.js. Setup node at the rate version 3. So what it will do is it will basically install Node.js, it will set up the path, the environment variables, everything for us, and all I have to do is simply use it whenever I want. That's it. So what are the benefits of actions? So some of the benefits of actions are, so basically we can avoid repetition, which means one action can replace hundreds and lines of our code across multiple workflows. And also it's very flexible. So as I already mentioned, we can configure actions with parameters. For example, we can easily swap node version 20 to 18 within few seconds. And also we can mix action with custom scripts. For example, we can set up node, we can run tests and deploy it. If there is any security patches or vulnerability checks, if you want to do, all you have to do is you can simply check the actions and change the version. There is no need to edit or change every line of code. Okay, so let's try to understand a real world use case of an action. So in this specific use case, all I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to set up an action, Node.js, and then I'm using the AWS to configure the credentials, and I'm basically sending Slack notifications. So that is what I'm trying to do here. So here if you see these lines of code under the use block, instead of writing the complete Node.js steps, I'm just trying to do it in one line. And similarly, we have one more actions where I'm configuring AWS credentials. Just if you see, there is one keyword with a scam which is common while using action, that is the with keyword. If you see here also it's there, here also it's there. So basically with means we are just trying to some pass some parameters or something like that for an action. That's what we are trying to do. And GitHub Actions, our official treasury is the GitHub marketplace. So whatever the actions that has been developed, right, so everything is available under this GitHub marketplace. So all you have to do is come here and you have all actions. So if you want to filter it out, you can just come here. Yeah, I mean, like, it's already there. So if you want, you can also search. So for example, I'll just try to search for Terraform. So if you see here, there are multiple actions for Terraform. So let's try to go in one of the action and see how it looks. If you see here, there is just 29 stars for this specific actions. So whenever you see like 29 stars or very less number of stars, so just try to go to their official repository and see for, I mean, like, if there is any security I mean, like, vulnerabilities, or if it is trustable action. Okay, just make sure that you verify those things before using that in your workflows. But generally, what happens is if there are, I mean, like, a lot of stars or something like that. So I mean, the one which you see here in HashiCorp setup Terraform, if you see, there are like 1.4k stars. which means that you can actually trust it. Your star does not mean how many times this specific actions has been used or downloaded. It just means it's just an indication of how reliable this specific action is. That's it. Okay. I mean, if you are trying to use anything with less number of stars, just be cautious and verify in their repository. All right. So that is something which you will have to take part. Other than that, so you can simply go and explore this specific website. I mean, like URL. I'll also paste it in the description of this video for to make it much more easier for you. So that's it about actions for now. So let's try to go for the next step, which is our practicals and hands-on. Let's try to do a hands-on session. Okay, let's start with the practicals now. So for these practicals, I'll be using a Python-based web development framework called as Django. Okay, so where we will try to build a workflow in GitHub Actions, where we will build and test the Django application. All right. So to do that, first I'll just give you a quick run through of how to install and set up Django on your local system, and then we can start with building the CI/CD pipelines. Okay. So for that in Django, I mean in Python, use pip package manager and simply run pip install Django on your local. So that should basically install Django on your local environment. Okay. And in my case, it's already installed. So I'm getting requirement already satisfied. But for you, it should be different. And then I'm going to, this is a command. So what this command will do is it will create a new Django project on your local environment. All right. So this is a very simple application. So and now when I give a hello world application has already been created. Okay. And then what we are supposed to do is I'll just go inside this hello world project and then I'll try to run the Django application. So for that, cd hello world, and let's try to run the application. Python 3 manage.py and run server. So for now, you don't have to worry about what this manage.py, what is the content of these things. So you can simply ignore those things. Just try to understand that you are simply building a Python based Django project. That's it. Okay, that should be enough for now. All right. And let's come here and run. Yeah, we have installed and it's right. So after installing this Django application, so what is the next step? The next step is let's try to come here. Now we have this Django application which is up and running on our local environment. I'll do a control C and kill it. Clear screen. And now I'll try to build basically our GitHub workflow, okay, using actions. All right. So that you'll get to know the benefit of the actions. So as usual, what is the name of this workflow? Name should be Django CI slash CD. Okay. And then, so what should be the trigger or event? On push. Okay. And then you want branches. Basically, I'm telling when I push to the main branch, only then you trigger the specific workflow. That's what we are trying to convey. All right. So once that is done, the next step what we are supposed to do is to focus on jobs. Jobs. So in jobs, what we are supposed to do? This is for building and testing. So it is build hyphen and hyphen test. Once that is done, where should I run this job? Run on, I'll run it on Ubuntu latest. All right. So what are the steps The first step, I mean, like, what steps we are supposed to do, run inside this job. That is, let's discuss about that one. Okay. See, steps. Okay. We have, sorry, yes, it should come here. Steps is here. All right. And then what else? Inside the step, what are we supposed to do? The first step is we need to check out the repository. Okay. Now inside this steps, right? So I can check out this repository by running this git CLI commands or any another way, right? I can even copy or do something. Okay. So how many times will you do it, right? So this is where the action comes into picture. So instead of writing multiple lines, all I have to do is just name the specific action. So basically I'm doing check out of the code part, and we can basically use this action. For using, you have something called as uses is to so actions. So basically you should follow this syntax, actions slash, and there is something called as checkout at o3. So this is the name of the action to check out your code. And similarly, we need to do one more steps. So what is the another steps? Right? The other step is hyphen name. So we need to set up Python because we are building and testing a Django based application. So set up Python. Okay. Once I set up Python, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to use action. Uses which action? So actions slash set up hyphen Python at okay. So now I have an action where I will do the setup of Python. Okay. Once I do the Python setup, right, I will have to tell like what version of Python I need, because my application might will be dependent on the Python version, right? So for that one, I can define it here with and in that with you can provide Python hyphen version. I'm going to use 3.9. Okay, and let's test this one and see how it works. Git test git fun m, and let us give the commit as one Django CI. Okay, git push. Basically, since the trigger is push, yeah, if you see here, the pipeline is failing. The reason why the pipeline is failing is because I've done some mistake in the name of the action. So let's go and try to fix it. So it is not set, just set. It is basically set up. Set up Python version 3. Let's save it. Git add dot them git push. So I'm going to push the code. Let's see now how it works. Alright, the job has started. Looks like it's working fine. Yes. If you see here, it has installed the Python, and let's see, it has installed 3.9, then the setup of the Python and post setup Python. All these things are done. So what should we do next? The next step is, so we have done the setup of Python. After that, we need to install the dependencies, right? We need to install dependencies that is there. So what are we supposed to do for installing the dependencies? So come here, create a separate step. All right. So for that, hyphen name, and I'll name it as install dependencies. Install dependencies, run. And while installing, since we have multiple commands or multiple lines that we are supposed to type, so we'll go with inline character. And then once we do this, so I'll create a Python v virtual environment, Python -m, and then venv is the name, and also I'll give the name as v. Okay. And then once I'm done with this, we need to source it. Source venv slash bin slash active. Okay. And then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to set up pip install hyphen upgrade pip. Okay. And then we have pip install -r. So the name is requirements.txt. So I have already kept the requirement.txt. So for this we just need Django. That's it. All right. So I have done the setup of dependencies. So once the dependency setup is done, what is the next step I have to put to do? Okay. I'm supposed to uh, build this application and test this application. That is the next steps, right? So there is, I mean, like when we say build, I'll simply try to run the migration file and see it works. So that is what we will be doing in this case. Hyphen name, okay, and I'll run migrations, okay. So for those who don't know what is migrations means, see when we say migrations in these terminologies, right? So in your code base, developers what they will do is they will define the database schema. So when you run these migration files, right? So whatever the schema structure, they have done changes in the development framework, right? That will be deployed to your databases. It might be your SQL database or anything. All right, that's what migration means. So in migration, what are the things we are supposed to do? So the first step is we need to activate venv. Source slash bin slash activate. And then what are we supposed to do? Python. Python. So basically, I need to run this manage.py. Copy relative path. Okay. I have to migrate. Okay, this is the command. So let's try to run this and see how it works. See, by default, GitHub Actions will not look from the workflows directories. By default, it will look from the root directory, which is here. Okay. So technically, let's assume you'll keep your requirement file under along with this workflow file, right? So it will still not identify it. So you will get an error that the requirement.txt is not available or not found. So therefore you will have to keep it at the root level of your Git directory. All right. So that's how it works. Git add dot git commit hyphen m. I'll just make it like 2. Just identify the commit difference. Git push. Let's go ahead and verify it. The job has triggered. Build and test. I see there is an error in venv package while installing the dependencies. Let's try to go and see what mistake I have done. Installing the dependencies. The first step is venv. Yeah, we have done the setup. It is not active, it is activate. See, this is one of the reasons why we will all, when you work, right, I mean, like it's always recommended you keep testing your pipelines in an incremental way so that at the end, in one shot, if you try to test your pipelines, it becomes very hard to do the debugging part. Okay, let's try to push it. But again, you should not do so much of silly mistakes. I don't have enough extensions and toolings. So because of that, I mean, I just did 2 or 3 silly mistakes by now. Let's go and try to see how it works. Yes, let it run the migrations. Perfect. The migrations are passed. Do you see here? Applying migrations. It has applied. Alright. So after applying migrations, what is the last step that we are supposed to do? So now let us run some test cases. Hyphen name. I'll keep it as a run test. Run source active done. So then what are we supposed to do? Let me copy paste. This much is enough. Yeah. The command almost remains the same. At the end, you will have to append with test. Okay. So let's quickly verify if we have written everything properly. Yeah. Run test source venv. Yeah, I have done the same mistake again. Yes, activate. Okay. So now we are good. Let's test it out. Perfect. Let's try to see the test reports. It ran 0 test. So basically, technically, everything is passed. We can consider it like that. So the pipeline has successfully executed. So in this specific video, we were just trying to focus on how we use actions and how actions basically helps us to reduce the number of lines of code that we are actually using or writing in our CI/CD pipelines. Okay, that's the whole intention, and this is a nice, quick, a small project kind of thing which you can do it. So I would recommend you to explore on different tech stacks. Like you can try to do it with Java, .NET, and even Node.js as well. Okay, just try to explore on different tech stacks. It gives you a better understanding. I hope this video really helped you. Okay. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such content. All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Take care.